Hello, what's up guys? Welcome to the 14th tutorial in the series. Yes, the 14th tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about sets, and let's get into it. Okay, so what is set? A set is simply a well-defined collection of unique objects called members, or you can also call them elements. Although they are unordered, unlike some other data type or collection type rather, they do not allow duplicate elements. So you can't put two twice in a set, you can't put different strings twice in a set, and also set can only contain immutable type or objects, though you can also modify the set itself, but the objects you pass it as a member or element must be of an immutable type, which means you can't put a list there because a list can be changed, but you can put a string, you can put an integer, and so let's just get straight into the coding. As usual, we'll be creating a set, and I'll be showing you two ways you can do that. Of course, that's what we do at first. So there are two ways you can create a set with the curly braces. Yeah, the curly braces, don't use that for dictionaries. Yeah, you use it for dictionaries, but also in this situation, or in this case, you do not have a key value here. It's just an element, and Python recognizes it as a set in that case. Okay, so you can create it, but note you can't create an empty set with this, as Python would confuse it with a dictionary. So the way you create an empty set in Python is using the set function. Just as you have the list, the int, the float function, you also have the set function which you use to create an empty set. So we're gonna do this and print a. We're gonna save that, and it should return that set. As you can see, you can also print type to see if it's a set indeed, and then we have that. Okay, so that's how you create an empty set, or you can create a set from a minute. Okay, cool. So you can also create a set from a list or a tuple. So I can do 1 2 3, and then it creates a set from that, or I can do it this way. Let me make this b. I'm gonna do 4, okay, 3 4 5. So we have two sets now. They are basically the same thing. We're gonna print a, and then we're gonna print b around that. So we see 1 2 3 4 5 6. We're gonna put comma in front and do type a, so we'll know they are both set, as we're using this way. B, yeah, so you see they are both set down here. Cool. So we're gonna continue with that. So let's talk about len function with set and the membership function. Of course, you can use the len function on set as well, just as you can use it on list and tuples. You run that and you see we have len of 3, and you can also check for members in the set. 5 in b, we're gonna save that and run that. True, we have 5 in b as well, truly, and you can check for 1 in b, which is a false. Well, in this case, you want to get true. Just joking anyway. Okay, so this should return in true if I should run it, and true, nothing. So you can also check for the length and membership in set. Okay, now so let's go to operating on set. But there's something interesting about set. You can operate on sets the way you use your operators. You can also perform the same operations with some other methods in Python. Isn't that cool? So I'm gonna show you some things you can do with both operators and methods in Python. Okay, so we're gonna clear this. So if you've seen set, or you're hearing set, must have heard about the set theory, the Venn diagram, must have seen things like that. But if you haven't heard of that, seen stuff like that, don't worry, we're just gonna dig into this as you would understand it, and it will be explanatory enough. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the union. Union basically is uniting both sets together. So I want to add both sets together. I'm gonna print a, and the way use this is using the pipe. I think it's called that, the pipe. So this adds these two sets together, so you have 1 2 3 4 5 together. But note, sets do not take duplicate element, as I've said earlier, so this should be 1, and let's run down and see. So 1 2 3 4 5, as you can see, it doesn't take duplicate elements. Okay, you can also assign this to a variable to get a new set. Let's assign that and call it c. Oh my, okay, C, and then we're gonna do this. Cool. If you print C, Okay, so we have 1 2 3 4 5, and you can also perform this same operation with a method which is really cool with sets, and it makes it somehow different from other data types. So we're going to do the union. As you can see, it brings out a suggestion which I wasn't expecting sincerely. Okay, so we're going to put B in here. Now we're going to print C to see if they are the same thing. Okay, see, they are the same thing, so this also unites both sets together. Okay, so what's the difference between these two? So the main difference between these two is that in this case, when you're using operators, you cannot pass any data type, you must pass both sets. But whenever you're using the method, you can pass a list here as an argument, and then it's going to convert it to a tuple for you before it adds it together. So let me show you that. As you can see, we get the same thing, but if you should try that here, 3 4 5, it's going to give you an error. So method, as you can see, we get an error. So the methods always do the conversion for you, while the operators don't do that. Cool. Now we also have the intersection, which is similar. We can do A intersection B, and in case you also have the method for that, which is A intersection section B. So we're gonna do this twice. A so you can see the same thing. So the intersection just picks a value that is common in both sets. So it's gonna, what is common? Let's check this ourselves. So let's do a little bit of math here. Okay, so that's 3. You're gonna sit down and run it. You should get 3 twice down there. As you can see, they both do the same thing, but in this case, you can pass this as a tuple or a string, and it's gonna do the conversion for you. Cool. Now let's get into modifying a set. As I've said earlier, sets are also mutable. Okay, so we can use the update method. We can do a dot update and add a 6 to that, and then we're gonna print. Oh my, I missed that. Okay, interpret is not iterable. What's going on wrong? So let's debug this together. Oh, sorry about that. Whenever you're updating sets with this, you need to pass it as a set. So you're gonna save that and run it. It just skipped my mind anyways. Ooh, I was confused for a second, and I was like, oh, I don't know Python anymore. That's a lie. I really know it. Okay, so you have to pass in a set here whenever you're using the update function. Please do not make that mistake. But in case of the add and the ones I'll be showing you now, you do not need that. So I'm gonna save this. I run it. As you can see, it adds it. You can, so update is basically takes in a set as an argument, but the add, the remove, in this case we're gonna remove 1, so we don't have 1 there. You can also use the discard. So a quick one, what's the difference in the discard and the remove? As you might have seen, they do the same thing. So basically, whenever you use the remove and that element is not in the set, it gives you an error. But if you use the discard, it's not gonna give you an error. You're just gonna skip through it. It's just gonna return the non type anyway. Okay, so let me show you what this is. I'm gonna pass in 55. Of course, 55 is not in the set, and you see we skip through it. So we're gonna assign this to a variable called d. Oh, I'm using a lot of alphabet, and then we're gonna print d. Okay, as you can see, it returned the non type. So you might experience this a lot in Python when it returns none, which means it's at least you can be useful in your program. It will help a lot. Okay, so now that's it for lists. For sets, basically I'm not gonna make the same mistake I made in the last video. That's it for sets. And you also have what you call frozen sets. The difference between frozen sets and sets is that frozen sets cannot be modified. You can't do add, discard, remove methods on that. It's just a beauty. It also a built-in collection type. Well, I'm not talking about that. You can check that out. I also saw a nice article which I'll be linking down in the description below. You can check that. You'll see everything you need to know about sets. As yeah, a lot more. You have this difference method. You have, difference operation where you can use a the difference b minus b, stuff like that. Just check it out, and you'll be cool with sets. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.